Now you guys can see all our curriculum. All right, here we go.
Tomo News presents Clean Energy Solutions. TO system will be competitive with diesel if it is deployed at a large scale.
Okay.
Rain or shine, future solar panels may be able to generate power. Scientists in China are producing solar panels that can produce energy from the last source you'd expect when we're talking about solar energy, rainwater. In a typical solar panel, photons from a light source knock electrons free from atoms within the panel, and the action generates a flow of electricity. Although solar power technology has been getting increasingly efficient, there's still the tiny problem that solar cells can't produce any power when it's raining. Researchers are introducing a new type of solar panel by adding a layer of graphene or carbon atoms arranged in a honeycomb structure to dye-sensitized solar cells. A flexible layer of indium tin oxide and plastic is included underneath. Graphene has unusual properties that allow electrons to move freely throughout the entire layer. Rainwater contains positively charged ions like ammonium, calcium, and sodium. When water binds to the panel's surface, a double layer of positive ions and negatively charged electrons is created, which ends up producing a voltage and current. Tests of the new solar panels have been able to produce hundreds of microvolts, which is small even compared to a standard AA battery. So there's a long way to go before the new solar panels become more widely used, but more efficient future versions could mean big things for the solar industry.
Now, we just wanted to show this clip to kind of show you all that, alternative energies are something that keeps developing, and there's always new innovations with them.
So what do you all think of using solar panels to capture electricity from rain?
There you go. 2021,
Why crazy?
Really. I think it's a smart idea.
Probably a good way to get electrocuted.
I hope there are some safety measures for that, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
But if you can use it for rain, you could potentially also use it for if it hasn't rained in a while and it ends up becoming more efficient with rain, you could end up using that by your irrigation, and so your irrigation
So multiple uses for that thing. Cool.
down girl.
Okay, well, that was just to get our brain juices going this morning. So now Kayla will explain what we're doing next.
Yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start our group presentations. So don't worry about the term presentation. When we say presentation, it's just a short time for you to share your knowledge with the rest of the class, because obviously you all didn't do the same readings. So you were grouped into different energy sources. So if you would please get into those groups, so solar, wind, hydro, and all the other groups, so that we can start.
Again, if you don't stay in your areas, that's fine. But just go and get out your stuff. This was from last week, right? And we shared those documents. So if you could get out the documents, it's the readings and then the reading questions that you answered. And then I also added that document to the drive. So to the classroom. It was just kind of like an empty chart, right? You want them to go ahead and open that up too, right?
Yeah, they can go ahead and open that up too if they want to.
Okay, cool. While we're all just opening things, we'll just go ahead and open that. Save it for later? Okay.
You're welcome. That doesn't have negative.
I think we should definitely talk about that. Emma just asked a question, there's so many cons to all energy sources. Is there a perfect energy source? Maybe we won't want to deal with that right now, but
Yeah.
I like that thought. So maybe we could talk about that in a little bit. But I want Jamie and Kayla, I want to tell you that that was something that was on.
Mhm.
At
Yeah,
least-
that's an important question.
We can definitely discuss that when we like talk about how this activity went.
Perfect.
Thank you. So are they all able to like talk to each other, even if it's like in the comment section of the doc or something? from
Yep.
their groups? Okay. So you all were assigned like someone to help facilitate the discussion. Someone is going to be in charge of typing in the doc once we're doing the presentations. And someone's going to be in charge of just sharing their group's thoughts. So we're going to give you all 3 minutes to kind of get oriented, figure out what you want to say about your energy for the benefits, the drawbacks, and how it contributes to climate change. What you think is most important for the rest of the class to know, since they didn't learn about your energy source yet.
Sorry, we're trying to like figure out some editing access stuff.
No. And Hallie, they can't hear what you're saying.
They can't hear what I'm saying? Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right, we're dealing still with some technical difficulties from yesterday. So let me get rid of this. I'm gonna mute you. Sorry about this.
Jabin, it's just because you're on mute.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me now, Hallie?
Yeah, I can.
Hallie, Emma?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay,
you.
good. Sorry
I
about
can hear
that.
you.
Thanks for texting your friends on that. Okay, I think we got all the mute and unmute stuff now figured out. Oh, let's see if I unmute this. Are you hearing me twice? Is there an echo now?
Are you asking us, Jabin, or the other people?
I can't hear you. I know, but I can't. I should be able to hear them out of this computer. This is weird. Okay, Kayla, and Jamie, they're in their groups and they're kind of going through their stuff.
Okay, great. We'll start the 3
Oh,
minutes. now
I
then.
can't hear you guys at all. Oh, this is driving me crazy. How did this work so well yesterday? And now it is not. Can you guys talk one more time?
Yeah, so we can start the 3 minutes now. Can you hear us?
I can't. It's so weird.
Also,
That's
you
a
talk
really
again?
good connection.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Great. Oh, we just said that we'd start the 3 minutes now. So until 9, like
21.
22. Or-
Okay, fantastic. And then we'll start sharing after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at 9:21.
Okay, great.
They really don't have access, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Dang it.
Hey, Burnhorse.
Yes.
How are we supposed to type on the doc? We can only view it.
I'm giving you access. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought it gave you access already, but it doesn't. Try it now, guys. Should work. Give it a refresh. Oh. Okay, good. What's that? It does work. It does not work? How does it not work? Yeah, I see your names.
Oh, on that.
Yeah, on this, yeah.
We did the stretch for the try.
This energy table should work. That's in classroom.
Do we fill this out for sound?
Yeah, for your own, right? Do you want them to go ahead and fill out the stuff, right, on the chart as they're preparing here?
They can do both. They can also be filling it out as their presenter is speaking.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Do the groups feel like they can adequately have the share begin like sharing with the class while the recorder can add to the document?
You guys, hey, you guys all good with going ahead to share right now? Okay. Sure. Let's go for it. And then the people can kind of type some stuff in, right? One person can do some typing.
Remember, this is really laid back. If you need to talk through things, that's fine. Or like ask us to help and we'll help out.
Awesome. Thank you.
So let's start with the solar group, and that way we can just go through the document.
Solar folks. Where's my solar folks? Okay.
So solar energy is probably the biggest sustainable energy source that people talk about, because it is very low maintenance. It is very efficient at this point. Very sustainable. Except for the manufacturing and maintenance of the panels, more or less zero emissions, which makes it pretty great. It works through most of the world. The closer you get to the poles, the less effectively it works. But as a general rule throughout the day, especially during the summer, in whatever region of the world you are, they're very efficient devices. They unfortunately have very high upfront costs to install them, which is the main reason they're not installed. We already have all of the infrastructure for coal and nuclear and all of that, but not very much stuff set up for solar. Again, manufacturing them is expensive and emissions involved there. They don't work at night, obviously, or during the rain, except for the computer at the beginning of class. So throughout some of the day they don't do anything. So you need massive batteries in order for them to work properly. Batteries are lithium, and lithium ion is terrible. And batteries are expensive, and basically they have very, very high upfront costs. So they're not used. However, if many were put in place, and if we could find some efficient way of using, like vanadium batteries, for example, various batteries that are more efficient over emission, whatnot, then they could seriously reduce climate change with the modern technology that we have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice job. Nice job.
Following up with all of these, we needed them to get. Does anyone have any questions about solar before we move on to wind?
Very nice.
And we could talk about this once everybody's done, right?
Mhm.
And wind?
Discussion.
Wind. Great.
Benefits for wind energy, they don't emit greenhouse gases like CO2. They also take up a small amount of space on the ground, and they allow countries to become more energy independent. The drawbacks, they have a high initial cost, they produce inconsistent energy, and therefore cannot be used in places that don't get a lot of wind. They have a high risk of lightning strikes. Very strong.
Birds. Don't kill my birds.
And it could contribute to climate change by reducing the reliance on highly polluting fossil.
Yeah, those are all great points. And so far, the last two energies, one of the drawbacks you said has been high initial costs. So does anyone know why alternative energy has such high costs when things like coal and other fossil fuels are so cheap?
It's already established.
Yep, it's already established. And how else? How's the government involved?
Because if like that's how those companies make money is because they don't you don't continuously pay for them, so they have to pay money from somewhere. So if they charge you a bunch of money up front, then they make all of that back and more, and then just like I said, they're not collecting money from you for the lifespan of that product.
Are you talking about like solar panels?
Yeah, like solar panels,
Okay,
like
got it.
wind.
But what about coal? Why is coal like so cheap? Like what's the government do to like reduce the cost of, like why is natural gas so cheap? Why is coal so cheap? Other than the fact subsidies, okay.
I have no idea, I'm just guessing.
It's a good guess, yeah.
Yeah, so if you put those two things together, someone said it's well established and someone else said subsidies, those go together. Because they're established, they've had subsidies for decades. And it's something like $1 million a minute. That's how much the subsidy is. Which is like so many hours in the day, so it's like a lot of money. Which means people to switch to renewable energy. So that's why the high costs right now is renewable energy, because they're not factoring in if it had subsidy. Now we can move to the hydro group.
Yeah, great job, by the way.
Benefit, that's a renewable energy source. It has low operating costs, so like once you get it installed and everything to run it, it doesn't cost very much, and it's a safe way to produce energy. And some drawbacks is that it modifies waterways, which leads into another drawback, which is like displaced animals, like it messes up their migration patterns, stuff like that. And then it does have a high upfront cost, just like wind and solar did. And it can displace people, animals, waterways, all of that, because it usually takes up a lot of space to install something like that, like if it goes through a dam or something. So.
Yeah, and then how does hydro contribute to climate change?
So dams depend on having a certain amount of water, and when it's a lot warmer out, it can cause a drought and the reservoir, and then there's no water in the dam. So
Awesome. That's a great connection.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Hydro Group. Let's move on to the coal group. So now we're switching from alternative energy to now this is a fossil fuel.
Alright, well, there's a lot of great things about coal, and there's also a lot of not great things about coal.
It's true.
But, so coal obviously is pretty cheap. It doesn't really require any manufacturing. You just get it right out of the ground and burn it. It's also easily to produce on a large scale. So you have like huge, obviously, factories or plants that are used, and it is very abundant. So, like, you know, in our generation and probably the next, we'll never see like coal run out. Obviously, it will probably in future generations, but it's cheap to use and has a very high efficiency, like energy output. Some of the drawbacks is like 7,500 to 52,000 people in the United States meet early deaths because of small particles each year from coal, resulting from the power plant emissions. It's getting progressively harder to find oil and gas deposits, and it is a large greenhouse gas emitter, and including CO2. And also, generally, coal plants are found in poorer communities because and so a lot of people are like, unfortunately, like have to live in really bad conditions if you live in it. And then how does it contribute to climate change? It obviously emits a lot of CO2.
Yeah, you did a really good job talking about kind of tying in environmental justice. That's something we will elaborate more on Thursday when we talk about Texas. But yeah, that was a really good point. Coal factories are usually in poor neighborhoods because richer people have the means to, vote against these coal plants being built around their neighborhoods. And usually housing is cheaper around these factories because it's not a good place to live. But I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you. Good job, coal group.
Now we can move on back to another renewable, the geothermals.
Okay, so geothermal is like renewable, and it comes from the Earth's core, and hopefully our core never stops.
That'd be crazy.
So once it's in place, it does have a low operating cost because you're getting free resource from Earth. It is efficient, and there's relatively few emissions, unless you use fracking chemicals, which is a drawback. Because a lot of times that, like, to get far enough down to the Earth to like withdraw the heat, you have to frack and do that fun stuff. Which, especially the fracking chemicals, can affect watersheds as well as like the escape, like heat from that area. And overuse of like a certain area can cause micro earthquakes and soil subsidence, which is really not good. And it contributes to climate change through a little bit of carbon and other like natural gas emissions, and the fracking techniques, both the chemicals that they use and the other like natural gases it release, contribute to emissions. But it could reduce coal usage. So, you know.
All right, awesome. You gave great information with that. Thank you, geothermal. Now let's go on to nuclear, which is a very controversial alternative energy source.
And we use the word alternative because it's not technically, some people don't think it's renewable, but it's an alternative to fossil fuels. So we'll see what you got.
All right, we had nuclear, and for that, it uses fission to make steam to generate energy. And that process itself doesn't have any emissions, but it uses mining to get uranium. And that process creates a lot of carbon dioxide. And then also there's a lot of transportation involved because it can only be mined in certain areas. And then that again creates a lot of carbon. It can be really expensive to initially build and for safety, but running it doesn't really cost that much, so that's good. And then like the biggest thing is that one of the biggest drawbacks is like a simple mistake can create like a huge speed detrimental on like a whole population of people.
And along with that, like you said, like any small mistake could lead to like, a nuclear meltdown. But one of the other things you just want to make sure that's clear was that technically we don't have a way to store any of the nuclear waste. Like all of the nuclear waste that's in Hanford from past energy sources, a lot of it has contaminated the groundwater, so no one can live in Hanford. Wait, sorry, was someone saying something?
Oh no,
Oh, I'm echoing. Oh, okay. I was like, I thought I heard someone.
it was you.
It's just me. And part of this problem is that like the plutonium has a half-life of 24,000 years, which no human lives that long. So that's like lots of generations. So it can be hard for humans to think about how to handle something at such a large time scale, especially when like Congress, which decides what to do with it, changes every 2 years with senators. So it's a very difficult issue on whether it's the most environmentally friendly or not. Like there's a lot of disputes. So it's something that we're gonna have to decide as we continue.
Good job, nuclear. All right, so the next group is biomass.
Biomass, it's pretty non-beneficial depending, but if you're looking for like a short-term result, such as traveling, like that, then it'll be beneficial. But if you're looking for the long-term results, then it's pretty bad off. There's not really too much of a benefit there. It's created through organic materials, mostly such as wood, and it uses tons of water, which is obviously not a good thing. I say I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between 5 feet of water and the ethanol plant, so that they use. But stuff biomass creates is stuff such as ethanol or biodiesel, which when this stuff is burned in cars, it creates large amounts of CO2 emissions. It all kind of count all cars together. That's pretty that stuff. It comes at a low cost and it's recycled, localized job stimulation and economic benefits, and it long term, it's not the best thing.
And I think with including long term, especially when you think of like major metropolitan areas, it will never be able to survive solely on biomass. So using something else like solar or a better option compared to biomass.
Yeah, you made some really good points. I'd also like to add to the drawbacks that since biomass uses a lot of things like corn, so like food, it'll drive up the price of food, which can really negatively impact a lot of communities. Did a great job, biomass. Thank you.
So, and we have one more group, the natural gas.
Natural gas is the least harmful fossil fuel out of the fossil fuels. Yes, it's like the carbon are low cost, high energy output. Yes, it's environmental, so it's a lot of greenhouse gases that are here. And natural gas is 50% less
So it's cleaner than coal is what you're saying, but still not great. Yeah, got you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We just watched or not the whole thing, but we just watched Gasland not too long ago. So we watched. You've seen that? Have you guys seen Gasland?
I just heard of it.
Oh, it's a must. So good. Okay, sorry. Natural gas. Any other? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were some great points on natural gas, especially the fact that it is cleaner than, like you said, coal, but it's still a fossil fuel.
Mhm. Okay, now we have a few minutes to kind of open up, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes to open up the discussion, the whole class. And I know someone earlier had mentioned or had asked a question, is there one energy source that is like the best to use? So I kind of want you guys to like reflect that and maybe come up with some answers um, as to why or why not there could be like one energy source that's the best.
You guys got that? Is there one energy source that's
Because each and every one of them has a drawback.
yeah, there's definitely drawbacks.
Do you think we'll ever find an energy source that doesn't have any cons to it?
Yeah. I mean, what would that look like to you, Emma? Like what would
It would look like an energy source that doesn't have any cons to it.
Thank you. That's good. Yeah, Addison.
Maybe, well, it would be like Titan-3 civilization type of stuff, but if we could build like a Dyson sphere, if you've ever heard of one.
What's a Dyson sphere?
A Dyson
This is a Dyson Rosine sphere?
So basically what it is it's an object that you almost kind of like encase around a star, and that object like takes all of the energy from fusion that happens. It's kind of like a massive solar panel, but
Not is this feasible?
well,
I hadn't heard about it though, but that's something maybe for the
That'd be the future. If we could somehow build a Dyson what ball?
a Dyson
Dyson sphere. We have 2 physicists in here and they like to argue. I have to separate them physically.
Real object would be way too unstable. You set up a massive form of satellite that basically all solar panels on them and feed it somewhere else. You can swap out the entire star that way, and take all of it.
Yeah.
That is not feasible for the next like.
Yeah.
But I'm talking theoretically.
Theoretically, that'd be great.
But we still need people to dream big.
Yeah, you gotta dream big. So
like-
I never heard of the Dyson. I heard of the Dyson vacuum, but totally different. Now I've heard of Dyson Rosine too. Hey, so if there's not one source, then what is the solution? Is there just keep business as usual? Oh, I'll become Amish again? Okay, I like that thought.
I did too, low-key.
I mean, using less energy is like part of the solution that isn't on here because these are all like, oh, what can we use to produce it? So maybe not quite becoming Amish, but yeah, like just using less energy for things. So for example, if we used way less plastics, like we said, like a lot of the fossil fuels are also used to make plastics. So if we didn't make those cheap plastics, that would be less fossil fuels. And also, like,
Yeah.
if we're not using one resource, like if you think about like, would it be better to have everywhere in the globe use the same energy source, or would it be better to have every community decide what's best for them? Like, what do you all think?
Really, what's best for them, because then you would, like, otherwise you'd be wasting potential energy. Like, it's not like if you're trying to put solar panels in the Antarctic, like the effect that you would if you put them in somewhere like around the equator.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some places that have lots of wind, so maybe you would want solar, or there's places that have major rivers, so it would be easier for them to have hydro without causing ecological damage as much, or for example.
All right. So now we're going to quickly, just the last few minutes of class, we're going to go over the annotation resource that we shared with you all.
Thanks, guys. That was great.
Did I exit that? Whoops. Oh, right. Yeah, bad with technology. All right.
Thank you, Kayla. So we just wanted to make sure that you all understood like why we're asking you to annotate for the Texas discussion tomorrow for like the case study. So just a little bit of background on annotation, like you can read something once and you can still learn a lot from it, but sometimes in order to like really get at the key ideas and be able to apply the knowledge, such as the large class discussion we're going to be doing on Thursday, annotation just helps you to like break things down, understand all the pieces, and then put the puzzle piece kind of back together to like look at the big picture and the evidence together. So we have a bunch of steps to use to like help you annotate. And part of it is reading it multiple times, which thankfully Jabin has introduced a lot of these articles to you. So if you've already read it the first time, you could skip the first couple steps and just go straight to step 5. And you all have access to this annotation document. I'm just saying the same things that are on the document. So if you go to the Texas case study article, you can underline, highlight big ideas, write down questions or critiques you have of the documents or the ideas and questions they have. And it just especially the most important part is just using the 5 C's for everything that you read for the Texas case study. So like looking at the context of the paper, like what kind of category is it? What is it trying to achieve? Who is the author? The correctness, such as like, is this a lot of scientific information? Is it just like opinions or assumptions? What is the contribution? Like who's the audience supposed to be for? Also, was the paper easy to understand and well written? So clarity, as well as just making sure you write down any questions you have, any critiques you have, or just like new thoughts you have based off of these readings that you can discuss tomorrow.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys are thinking, ugh, this is like a lot to do. And why are we doing this? Well, the reason that we're doing this is because, like Jamie said, that it's going to help you formulate questions and comments about what you're reading and really help you with comprehension and retainment of the information. And it's something that you're going to use in the future, potentially if you go on to college or even in the workforce, you're going to have to read different articles and have to know how to most effectively and efficiently read them. And I know it's something that Jamie and I both wish we had been introduced to before our college experience. So we hope that you use this as a resource later on for college or for work.
I'm just going to piggyback on that too. Like if I could go back in time and just grab my biology teacher from high school that I love this dude, but like read no scientific papers. And maybe that's because it was the 90s and it was harder to get that. You had to subscribe to a journal, and I didn't know any teachers, high school teachers, that subscribe to journals. But the access is there now. You're all going to do this, okay? 90% of you will. Okay, we'll talk more tomorrow. Let's give it up for Mary Lee, folks. I'll just give it up for yourselves too. Thanks, everybody. Hey, tomorrow during class, we're going to focus on these Texas articles. I will have copies for you, and this annotation resource will be what we're going to be using for that. Okay? All right. Any questions? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Can you guys stay on for a quick second? Is that cool? Okay, cool. You got to tell them something? We'll come up here. You can tell them something.
Do you guys know my stepmom's name is Jamie?
Oh, that's cool.
Do you know, I didn't tell you this, but you know the reason why I called your mom Jamie Webb? It's because I had Jamie Webb's email. This person's email.
My last name is Webb.
That's Jamie's last name. And like, I just typed in Jamie and I got my Jamies confused.
I don't know why you didn't. Oh, her name is Eric.
Well, some people keep their last name. Some people keep their last name. Hey, let me spray these desks. I'll be right, and then I'll be right back. Okay. The life of a teacher during COVID. I have to spray down all these desks. Yes.
My stepmom does. I don't even know what she does, but like.
I can explain it in a second.
I'll just explain it real quick.
Okay.
Thank you. Where's the camera pointing?
Just it's up there.
My stepmommy works for the USDA. whatever that means. Jabin thinks it's cool. You know what it means?
Wait, what'd you say again?
The US.
Oh, the US. What about the USDA?
Yeah, that's what my stepmom works for.
Oh,
At like for I don't know, national. What does she work? National
USDA for the Washington DC.
Washington D.C.
that's cool. Like overseeing everything from medicine to agriculture. That's cool.
What are they saying?
Here we can turn the speakers this way. What was that?
Oh, I said that it's cool. Like, yeah, the USDA like handles agriculture and food and medicine. So that's cool.
Yeah, we started. I'll have to send you a link once it's all done. But my new venture is I've started a podcast about farming, and Emma's mom was on it, and Emma was on it, and I don't know what I'm doing yet, but it was sure a heck of a lot of fun. So I'll send you both the link, and you don't have to listen to it, but there's some interesting stuff in there. There's some interviewing tips because she got a job through USA Jobs, and so I don't know, maybe you'll get a job, government job at some point in your lives. But hey, thanks so much. I thought that was good. I thought that you never know when students are given a task like this and how they're going to respond. And I thought it was good. I thought they did a good job.
Yeah, they got all like the main, like at least several benefits and drawbacks.
I did not, by the way, I did not help them at all. I gave them the articles and I said, go to town. So there was I did not give them any prompts. What would you do? Is there anything you do different other than our little stupid technical difficulties?
I kind of wish we could have had more discussion time.
Yeah,
Like,
that's always the rub.
we could have built it out as a group, and then everyone like, just to have more discussion time of like.
Hold on a second, I'm losing you. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pull this out. Okay, can you say that again, Jamie? Sorry.
I just wish we could have had more time to like compare the energy. So I wonder if like, I mean, I wanted to give the students a chance to teach each other. That's why I wanted to like share with each other that visual and the auditory. Maybe it would have been better just to have the group fill it out as a work. I don't know which is better.
Or had them work in a group.
It's yeah.
We can't hear you, Jabin.
Uh-oh. Wait, you're too much still.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You can hear me. I can't hear you all. What is happening? Okay, hold on a second. Let me try this.
You're muted now. Let me chat.
Can you hear me now? I can't hear you. Unmuted? This is so weird. What's happening?
Okay, I just unplugged this stuff and I got to figure out what's going on with it. And my bell just rang. So I thought it went great. I loved it. I think, let me also end this one. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to give them time to work on the Texas stuff. right? And is there anything else that I need to do besides just give them time to do that? You're going to take them through the annotations, right? They just need to read the articles. Is that correct?
Well, like we want them to do the annotations while they're, which is just, highlighting, like we said, highlighting things important, writing down their questions as they go.
Okay, great. And
Go over their annotations. And be like, "Ooh."
do they have to do that for each article?
I tried to make it clear that so a lot of them are the shorter ones, which you can just read once and get the meaning. The annotations are mainly just the big text one that you're writing for them. That's why it's
Okay.
interesting, because that's the one you'll be writing on.
Okay, cool. All right. That sounds great. Hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Okay. Yeah. See you Thursday. Bye.